social. So when I give you a thumbs up, we're gonna all shout, "Go Tina!" Okay?
Okay.
Go Tina! Yay!
Okay, let's do one more.
Hit the red button.
Okay.
Go Tina!
There we go. Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah, it was great actually. Some of the sign friends by the coordinated community and also all my friends who were the voters and so I'm like, no, get I was watching, I went to University of Georgia, so I was the Georgia CA last weekend, and you get like the, and
I'm not really good at yelling.
You can use the microphone.
I can. Is it on already?
Well, I'm gonna turn it on.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. So when Tina gets here, we're gonna have her do from a great recommendation. It's gonna be a little Rocky style entrance. So we're gonna part the sea here, and she's gonna enter from behind, and we're gonna do a little rah rah.
I love it.
So just if you're in the center, just be prepared to kind of move slightly to either side so that Tina can get through, and get ready for some fun. Everybody good? All right. Thank you.
some time to do some stuff at the station after that. I can probably do a life class.
I guess that wasn't for me. What an honor to be here today to make an introduction of someone I'm sure you all know by now. For nearly 30 years, I led a nationally recognized nonprofit working on comprehensive solutions to end homelessness called Central City Concern. Over those years, I learned a lot about housing, medical care, addictions, mental health treatment, and employment services. After retiring about 5 years ago, I did some volunteer work, but like most Oregonians, I became increasingly concerned with seeing more and more homeless people on our streets, seemingly with more difficult problems that are harder to resolve. The housing supply crisis, affecting not only the poorest amongst us, but also the working class and even middle class folks, had to also be addressed in an even bigger, more comprehensive way. The lack of access to addictions and mental health treatment was also very much a part of this tragedy. So this summer I did start paying attention to the governor's race. I learned, but I was not surprised, that one candidate did have a thoughtful plan and a considerable history of accomplishment and service to the community to back it up. But I must admit I had no intention of getting involved in a political campaign, much less appearing in TV commercials. Not this introvert. People recognizing me on the street as someone who was on TV was what I really wanted to avoid. But I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did. But in this process, when I was trying to think what I could do, I got the call. It was Tina asking me to do what I knew I should have been doing my part to help her win this campaign. On several occasions, I had more time with Tina to learn about her plans. But she also asked me a lot of questions, and she listened intently. What stood out for me was her focused curiosity, her ability to grasp critical issues, and an energy that was contagious. She was alive. She was alive with presence when we were talking. I could no longer stand on the sidelines. And then I also realized this was more than about homelessness. This was about the future of Oregon that belongs to all of us. Most leaders know that to be effective, they must be able to delegate authority to get tasks done. But there are things a leader cannot delegate. A sense of ultimate responsibility, of courage, of a sense of honor for public service, and a commitment to the common good. All these qualities I saw in Tina. Some leaders seem dazed, even paralyzed when confronted with the magnitude of the challenges they face. Tina is no deer caught in the headlights, and she will keep us focused on the light at the end of the tunnel. Like many of us, I answered the call, but Tina answered the call. And I'm so glad she did, and I think you are too. Now it's time for us to walk through the tunnel with Tina towards the light. And I'm honored to introduce the next governor of the state of Oregon, Tina Kotek.
Good morning, Oregon. Morning. Thank you, Ed, for that gracious introduction. I love you. Thank you. I'm excited to stand before you today as the governor-elect of the great state of Oregon. The campaign has been a tremendous journey. I've heard from Oregonians across our beautiful state that they want things to be better. They want problems solved, and they want to be included in the solutions to our toughest challenges. I want to thank my family, especially my wife, Amy, my team, the thousands of volunteers and supporters, and the voters for the privilege to serve as the next governor. I am honored and humbled by this opportunity to serve, and I will strive every day to be a force for positive change in our state. Now the election is over, and the really hard work begins. I've spoken with Christine Drazen and Betsy Johnson. I commend them for their public service and their hard-fought campaigns. I let them know that I'm going to focus on the problems that all three of us agree need fixing. Oregon is facing major challenges. We all know that. And I'm anxious to get to work. I promise to be a governor for all of Oregon. Because when Oregonians do better, when we all do better, we are all safer, healthier, and more prosperous. I'll start by working tirelessly to deliver results on issues of shared concern across our state: housing and homelessness, access to mental health and addiction treatment, and successful schools for our kids. I ask my fellow Oregonians, no matter who you voted for, or even whether you voted at all, to believe in our state and our future. Please be engaged so we can all help solve problems together. When I start as your next governor, I will focus on three things first. I will declare a homelessness state of emergency and work with urgency to help Oregonians move off the streets. I will expand access to mental health and addiction treatment services. And I will work to bridge the divisions in our state. I'll spend time in communities all over Oregon, working to fix problems and partner with Oregonians who want to find solutions. While we face big, complex issues, let's not forget that it's all about people. I spent the last year talking with people about the kind of future we want for Oregon. People like Johnny, a custodian in Eugene, who is worried about his wages keeping up with the rising cost of living. People like Becca, a mental health counselor in Portland, who is concerned about the workforce shortage that is making it almost impossible to meet the needs of Oregonians who are struggling with mental health or addiction. People like JP, a man who is transitioning from homelessness that I met in North Portland, who is hopeful that we will provide the same services and shelters that others need. People like Amy, a child care provider in Astoria, who is working hard every day, helping working families who desperately need to have affordable child care. People like Jave, who's a volunteer on an abortion access line in Bend, who is concerned about Oregonians' access to reproductive health care with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. People like Kurt, a teacher in Hermiston, who is helping his students learn to build homes and wants to make sure we fully support career and technical education in our schools. And people like Paul, a farmer in the Applegate Valley in Southern Oregon, who knows we need to take immediate action to address climate change and the impacts of drought. These and so many other conversations were the energy that kept me going on the campaign trail. Oregonians are absolutely amazing, and they want things to get fixed. And these stories and their hopes and dreams will guide my work as your next governor. I know that we can make things better, fix things, come together. Because Oregonians don't back down when things get hard. We dig in, we think outside the box, and we get the job done. Thank you. So before taking some questions, we're going to get down to work. I'm announcing my transition director this morning. We have about 60 days to set up the team to lead us into the next administration. My transition lead will be Tim Inman, who is a former chief of staff for me in the Speaker's office. He was born and raised on a farm in rural Oregon. Tim has a deep love for our state, and he is known for his collaborative approach to listening to all perspectives. He's taking a partial leave from his current role as the university's secretary and advisor to the president of the University of Oregon. I appreciate Tim's willingness to serve in this transition role over the next several months. And with that, happy to take a few questions, but I'll go with Lisa first.
Lisa Baylor from Coin. Considering the narrow margin of victory, what specifically will you be doing to gain the trust of those who didn't vote for you? And as part of that, will you put Republicans in your administration?
I will welcome all perspectives to my administration. I will start by focusing on those issues of shared concern, because I think that's where you start. If people can see that we're working on the things we care about together, housing and homelessness, mental health and addiction treatment, good schools, and engaging in authentic dialogue, we're going to all figure out how to work together to solve problems. And my goal will be to set up a framework where we can make that happen, to make sure all perspectives are at the table.
Tina, Blair from KGW. A lot of people argue it's too soon to declare victory. Christine Drazen has not conceded yet. They're still waiting for votes to be counted. They argue the race will continue to tighten. What's your response to that?
I think we are here today because the Oregonian has projected me as the winner. I think the analysis is showing that. I did speak with Leader Drazen this morning. She understands that. That's where that analysis is. And it's time to get back. It's time to start work, because we have a lot to do between now and next January to get things started. So there's an urgency from voters, and we are moving forward. Peter.
When do you expect to propose a budget or budget adjustments to back up the policy changes and homelessness on either side of the state?
We are still figuring that out. You know, a governor's budget will have to be ready by February 1st. And one of the conversations in the transition is how we make sure we have those ideas front and center and prepared to come into the session with some budgetary asks.
Adrian Thomas from KBTV. Can you go into a little bit more detail about your conversation with Leader Drazen, and when was that?
I spoke with Leader Drazen this morning, as well as Senator Johnson, and very cordial conversations. We've all been through a very difficult campaign, but I said that we believe in the same things have to get fixed, and look forward to having conversations when we've all had a little rest.
Tina, Paresh from the Associated Press. How would your approach be different from Governor Brown's, and how does it feel to be before Healy in Massachusetts,
I'm so excited for Attorney General Healy and her win in Massachusetts. It is an absolute honor. She and I to be the first lesbian governors in the country starting next year. I didn't run for this job to be that first, but I can tell you that being who I am is important to Oregonians across the state. Lots of young people have come up to me and said, thank you for running and thank you for being who you are. It's really, really important. There's a new governor in January. My focus will be on the things that matter to Oregonians, and that is going to be housing and homelessness and mental health and addiction right off the bat, and that will be my focus going forward in the first months of my administration. Julie was asking, I don't know if everyone can hear that, campaign finance reform. I was the only candidate in this race who had clear details of what I'd like to see in campaign contribution limits. I will be supporting the legislature in getting that done next year, and if not, we'll support efforts to go to the ballot. This race this year really shows the influence of big money in politics, particularly the contributions of one billionaire here in our state. We must have limits, and I look forward to working with advocates across the state to get that done next year.
Do you have a timetable for what your transition team is going to recommend, other than naming the members?
We are just starting to dig into the transition. For me, focusing first on making sure we have the right leaders in place at our agencies and within my office to hit the ground running in January, and doing a lot of listening to hear what people would like us to change, but it'll be, we'll be phasing that in. But we're just starting those conversations, but with Tim at the lead, I know we're going to have good conversations about it.
What's your message to the, and I say this because with the previous administration, it was very difficult to get something as simple as a press release adopted from the office in Spanish. So what
Thank you for the question. Well, in our campaign, we did specific Spanish language outreach in our campaign. Oregon is a state of diversity and people who need to be part of the process. And as governor, making sure we continue to have that level of communication with our Latino community, because that community is the foundation of so many communities across our state, and look forward to working with groups who are on the ground working in those communities. One more question.
Tina, just a follow-up on crime. You didn't mention that in your speech. Why is that? And with close to 1,000 shootings here in Portland, where you live, is that going to be something that you're going to address and have?
I believe that making sure people are housed and making sure people have access to mental health and addiction treatment will help with some of the issues on the streets, but it's also enforcing the laws that we have around who should have access to firearms. I hope to have a meeting as early as next week with Mayor Wheeler, and it will be on the list. And you get one more.
Heather Roberts with the Oregon Radio News Network. Any plans to do any traveling during this transition, specifically to the counties that overwhelmingly voted for Drazen, trying to win them over before we start?
Well, I definitely want to start that travel in the new year. The next 60 days is going to go very quickly. We have holidays coming up, but that will be part of the conversation with my transition team of how we set up an opportunity to travel to communities around the state in January and February, particularly talking about the issues of housing and homelessness and mental health and addiction, which I believe are issues around the state, and people will want to dig into those things as soon as possible. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you to all my supporters. Thank you, Team Tina. You're amazing. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's get over there, you guys.
Come on, get over there.